Hi, Paul Donovan here, avtechnician.ca, your channel for tips and tricks for AV technicians. Welcome. You know, an AV technician's life is not the same as your average job where you have a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 routine. We work in a different environment in a different way. Some of the things I've already mentioned in my previous videos, but I just want to review a few of them today. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to this channel, and if you want, type me some comments. I do read them and I do appreciate them, and where possible, I reply as well. So, the daily life of an AV technician is not so much the day-to-day little intricacies of what you're actually doing in an event. It's more of what you're doing every day for what you do, how you schedule, and all that kind of stuff. So let's walk through this a little bit. So how do you get booked for work? Well, if you're a show technician, this is pretty simple. You get a telephone call or an email from the company you work for or companies you work for, and they say, are you available on a certain date? You look in your calendar, you say yes, and you write blah back and you say confirmed. And they write you down in their little book, and you're confirmed for the event based on the times and everything that you confirmed. Now, if you're a setup and strike crew, you may be doing regular steady shifts and getting regular work, but this also depends upon the number of events going on. Sometimes we have very few events happening, and sometimes there's a lot happening, and you're just going from left to right and up and down, and you're just going everywhere doing lots of stuff. So really, it does depend. Now, companies, where possible, like to book show technicians as early as possible. During busy season, this means they may book you weeks in advance. But if your company that you work for happens to be an in-house AV company, then you often don't know about an event until the week before, when the hotel or the facility lets you know what's happening. So oftentimes you don't always know that you're going to be working next week, what days. So I've had AV technicians get asked this question from their friends or family or significant others, saying, hey, let's go to a show next week. And it's busy season, and first off, you're probably working all next week if it's busy season. And secondly, because if you do last minute bookings, you have no idea. Sometimes you don't even know until Wednesday or Thursday of the week before that you're going to be working. So it's really hard for you to say to your friends, sure, let's go to a movie Wednesday. And then you have to cancel. So your friends and significant others and all these other family members are going to think you don't like them anymore. Maybe you don't. It could be. But it gets to the point during busy season that you just work and work and work and work. So when is busy season? And when is it not busy season? Well, I have mentioned this before in my other videos about what is an AV technician, but let me just clarify. Now, I'm here in North America. I'm in Canada, and our seasons are dependent on the North American 4 seasons. And so summertime, which is generally July and August, are low seasons for AV work. Now, if you happen to be a wedding person who does events for weddings, you may be busier, get a little bit of activity going during the summer. That's great. Now, our summer in North America is July and August. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you may be a different thing. You may be December, January as your summertime. It depends on your season. We also have long weekends. This is when we have statutory holidays, Thanksgiving Day and Victoria Day and all the other holidays that may be put out by your state, province, or even nationally. And very few people will ever book an event the week before a long weekend, because a lot of people are concentrating on getting away for a long weekend. And I mean, you might get something on the Monday, possibly Tuesday, but pretty sure there's a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you're not going to have anything happen. It's just dead. We also have a phenomenon here in North America called the spring break, or it's also sometimes called the March break. And depending on your state, province, country, it depends on whether it's 1 week or 2 weeks. In Canada, they even stagger them. It's not even across the whole country at the same time. Some provinces have them in the first week or two of March, and some have them in the second and third week, and so on. It just gets a real big schmozzle. And so as a result, often spring break is a lovely break time for you. Lovely means you're not working. Okay. So depending on where you are, what time zone you're in, and whether you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, it will be a little different. Same thing if you happen to be in a country where you don't really have a variation between hot and hot and hot and hot, such as the tropical regions. You may not have quite the same as we do, where we have these lows and high seasons. But, I mean, a lot of tropical countries, when kids are out of school for whatever you call the summer or the semester break or between the school years, nobody wants to have meetings during that time because they're all trying to have fun. And hotels are more expensive, travel is more expensive, and all that kind of stuff. So, as I already mentioned, the long weekend thing and the spring break. I already mentioned that. I forgot to move the slide. That's okay. I can keep up. Now, if you work for many companies, you'll find, especially during the busy season, that you'll be working almost every day for many weeks. Last minute bookings happen, and if you have a packed schedule, then you have to figure out how to juggle your events around. But you do want to pay attention that you don't burn yourself out. It's not that hard after doing 3 months of working just about every day that you get to the point where you feel like you're ready to just go crazy. So you do want to periodically put in a day where you could be off work and have a day that you can catch up. So here's a problem that happens, and I don't know how to counsel you on this one. So let's say you've been booked for a half-day event. Fine, you're happy, you're okay, you've confirmed that you want to do it, and it's something you can do. And then the next few days, another company gives you a call up and say, hey, we've got a 3-day event happening, we'd like your talents. And it happens to be the same 3 days as that half-day event. Now, because you're working busy and the idea is to make money, you really want that 3-day event. So what do you do about that half-day event? Well, there comes in the little conundrum, the little dilemma that goes with the idea of, do I chase the money and take the 3-day event? Or do I stay loyal to what I'm already committed to? Now, there is a chance that you may keep your half-day one, and the company might call you up later for a one day before after, and you end up with 3 days or 2.5 days of work, and then you're happy. But right now, it's the old expression, bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Right now, you've got an offer for a 3-day event versus a half-day event and doing nothing for 2 days. So you often will say, how do I do this? I'm in a moral dilemma. Well, as long as it's not last minute, you can, if you really know the company you're working with, you can say to the half-day company, I'm sorry, I have to drop out. I've got a 3-day event that needs me. Or you can sort of fib and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that event. I double booked. I've already booked on another event. My apologies. Or you can just go with the way, I'm sick. Well, sick leave, taking breaks off for sickness is not a good idea. So you really have to, but you do have to pay attention to something. If you cancel a booking, especially during busy seasons, and make that company scramble to find somebody to fill in for the one that you canceled, they may put you on the blacklist and say, I guess we're not going to be calling you guys anymore, or we're not going to call you anymore and have you do events. You sort of have to be very cautious about canceling an event once you've booked it. But if you've got a heart of stone and you're don't care, all you're doing is chasing the money, you just tell the other company, but I'm not doing your half day, I'm going to just take my 3 days and I'm going to make money. But please don't do the cancellation at the last moment. It's one thing if you cancel a week out from an event, but when you cancel the day of or the night before, you've got the company scrambling to find replacements for you. Yes, if you are honestly sick, that's a whole different thing. We don't want anybody going to work while they're sick. I'm a bad habit of, if I'm not puking up a gut, kind of a lung, I probably will go to work. Now, of course, not if I've got COVID or something like that. So when you're busy, you have to consider your work-life balance. We want to have lots and lots of work because we need the income to cover the times when it's less busy. Your friends and your significant others and your family are going to think you don't like them anymore. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I'm not judging, but maybe you don't like them and you're just happy to have the excuse to work. It's why most of my friends have given up on me over the years. 23 years of doing this business, my friends said basically say, who's Paul? So you need to find a balance where you're going to say no to some bookings so that you have a little bit of that personal time. Because during the dry spells, you're going to have a lot of free time, and you want to make sure that you have enough money to get ahead. So your work-life balance gets a little crazy during the busy season. For days on end, you're going to wake up before the sun's up. Even in the longer days, sometimes you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're driving to work with the dark, dark outside on the highway. Maybe it's raining or not. You're getting to work at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. You're working all the way till 5 or 6 at night or even later. And then you're driving home all tired, and maybe you just pop into a fast food joint and get yourself a burger and fries. You go home and you collapse into bed. And you get up the next morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and you do it all again. And you do this for days on end. Nothing gets done in your life. No laundry is getting done. Oh my goodness, your uniform, whatever you wear for work, stinky, stinky. You don't get groceries, which is why you go to the fast food joint. You go to Starbucks on the way to work in the morning. You don't even notice if it's sunny or rainy because quite often you're in meeting rooms and ballrooms that have no windows and you have no idea what's going on outside. In the winter, what we call winter here in North America, which is the December season, you oftentimes would get up, go to work in the dark, and by the time you finish work, it's dark again. You never even see the daylight. You think of yourself as, well, what am I, an owl? That's a terrible feeling. But that's what you do during the busy season. Because the bonus of all that is you work like crazy, and then comes the summer. Or Christmas break, like I often get. And then your friends are going to see so much of you that they're going to say, oh, not Paul again. Oh, I don't want to see Paul anymore. They're going to get tired of you. Of course, during the downtime is when you're free to travel, free to do your own thing, develop your own projects, do things you like to do, build hobbies, etc. But of course, you're short on money. Yeah, it's a catch-22. You got no income, still got to pay the rent, still got bills to pay, and then if you do travel, you've got airfare and hotels to pay and all the other stuff. It's a vicious circle. I asked one guy, we in my company, we recently asked a young man if he would take over the in-house AV services, the management of the AV services at our hotel. And he said, I really like the change every day in my work. I don't really like the 9-to-5 routine. We convinced him to take on the role, saying it's only for 2 months. At the end of 2 months, you can decide if you want to carry on or not. It'll be summer season, it'll be less trouble. So we'll see how he goes. But it was interesting how he stated that, because it is true. One of the things that we like when we're show technicians is that every day we're meeting a new, different group of people. We're listening to new stuff. We're testing our talents and our skills and our knowledge. And for those of us that actually pay attention to what's being said, we learn something, whether it's a medical conference, a law conference, an accounting conference, a charitable organization, whatever. We may learn something and get excited about what we're hearing. Or we'll just become a big old dictionary and repeat everything. So this is one of the things that happens a lot, is we like this varied routine as opposed to the 9-to-5. But when it's busy season, we sometimes wish for that 9-to-5, Monday to Friday routine. It's difficult. So there we go. Just touched a little bit on that. It took me 15 minutes to do that, but I love to ramble. Subscribe to my channel. I'd love you to do that. And don't forget, if you like this thing, give me some thumbs up. Leave me some comments. There you have it for today's video, the daily life of AV technicians. I'm Paul Donovan, your host of avtechnician.ca, your tips and tricks for AV technicians. Thanks for watching.